"I'll be home for Christmas" is a refrain that is heard often during this season, and it's one that takes on different meanings depending on where one is. For instance, when I was a child, home was that warm, cheerful place where everybody was and everybody came for Christmas. Mom, Dad, brothers, sisters, grandparents, they were always there. It was, I suppose, the only time when home was to have that particular type of meaning and definition. It was a happy time. Years flew and changes came, and home became a place to come back to, as in, I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. People got married, people moved away, some people died, and all of those things changed the flavor of the season a bit. But home, well, that's where you grew up, and after all, that's where Mom and Dad still lived. Then I had my own home, as did my brother and sisters, and so the parents began to visit their children's homes, delighting the grandchildren with the wonder of Christmas as much as the grandchildren delighted them. It became more common now for Grandpa and Grandma to go over the river and through the woods for the holidays than vice versa. Home took on another meaning, but it was still a happy time. I think of the ghosts of Christmas past when I think of going home now, mainly because things continue to change. There was the Christmas when my mother insisted we all come to Carrington, that's in North Dakota, home, because my sister Judy would be there, at the time was fighting a difficult battle against cancer. We all came home. The joy of the season was muted somewhat by the fact of Judy's illness, but we were all home again, and even though it would be the last time we would all be there, it was a happy time. The very last time I was to go home for Christmas was last year. Mom was having her own battles during the 1986 holiday season. Dad had died in October. She had major cancer surgery in November, and arthritis was slowly crippling her. It had been planned, and she had agreed, that she would spend Christmas in St. Cloud at my sister Joni's place. I was to take her down there, but at the last minute she begged off, saying she wasn't up to the trip. She wouldn't admit it, but it was clear to us that she wanted to stay home, at her home, for Christmas, even if her constant companion of almost 50 years wasn't going to be there. Anyway, we surprised her and showed up on Christmas Day. We, 3 of her 4 remaining kids, and as many of her grandchildren as possible, invaded her quiet apartment. For a brief while that night, the woman who had nursed us through all of our many problems and presided over our many Christmases and who was now enduring her own suffering and loss was smiling, and her eyes shone more brightly than the Christmas star. Her kids were home, and it was a happy time. That was to be Mom's last Christmas. She died this summer. The death certificate said cancer, but I suspect it may have had more to do with affairs of the heart than anything else. So this year, as I hear the sounds of the season, the phrase, "I'll be home for Christmas," has another, completely different meaning than before, because for all of those many Christmases, home was always where the folks lived, and they don't live there anymore. But while they did, it was a happy time.